but this photograph was done in Photoshop. And the key here is to get the texture of the bricks and the mortar into the photograph. This was redone in Gimp. So let's learn how to do that. And we're going to use bump mapping to get that done. So I gave you a photo asset, actually two, one of a brick wall and one of a woman extending her hand. Let's bring the brick wall into Gimp. We're going to convert it to Gimp standard RGB. And the name of the picture here is in bold, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. First, let's create a duplicate. And we can also hit Shift plus Control or Command plus D as in David. And now let's bring in the woman with her hand extended and bring her up here. And let's convert that. But first, let's scale this. We can press C as in cat or select the scale tool. And we want to delete this part up here. So go ahead and click Enter or double left click. Now we need to remove the excess canvas. So go to Image, Crop to Content, and we should be good to go. At this point, we have to ready this picture to accept a transparent background by creating an alpha channel. So go to Layers, Transparency, and add alpha channel. Now if I look at the name of the picture, it goes from bold to regular text. If I want to undo that, I can hit Control or Command Z as in zebra, or Control or Command Y as in yes to redo what I just undid. And shortcuts are really cool because they expedite your workflow. So now I want to remove the background, but first I have to create a path around the lady. Now remember, to remove the picture around, just hold down the space bar and move your mouse. And to make the picture bigger, hold Control or Command and scroll up. And to make it smaller, scroll down while holding Control or Command. So to start this, let's bring up the Paths tool or press the letter B as in boy on your keyboard. Now we start by left clicking here, and that will create a dot or a node. Now in the previous lesson, I showed you why we use circular curves with this Paths tool versus the pre-select tool. And I showed you how to go around the node. Let's go ahead and do this. Left click here and just create nodes, and let's go along her hair all the way down. And normally I speed this up, but I want to do this slow so you can see exactly what I'm doing and how I create these curves. Now to move on from here, I'm just going to hold the space bar or click the left mouse button. It becomes a move tool, and I can also scroll up and down and move the picture around. If I stop, I can just start over by clicking inside the dot. Now if I make a mistake, I can hit the backspace key or press Control or Command Z as in zebra to go back as many times as I need to. At this point, I'm going to bounce outside of the photograph, and then I'll come back in under her arm, and then back out, and then back in on her shoulder. Because her thumb is a little bit blurry, we're going to stay inside the thumb line. And keep in mind, I'm doing this relatively quick, but when you do it for a client, take your time and do it accurately. And the more dots you have, the more realistic it's going to look. So you can still zoom in and zoom out here to see where you are. You can move the picture around. If I misplace a dot, I can always go back in, click on that dot and change it and move it around and reshape the curve. And all the strangling hair on the outside here, using feathering and other techniques, there are links down below. You can actually get all that hair and take the background out and have all those strings of hair sticking out, so you can get all that and make it look really realistic. So unlike the pre-select tool, we're not going to use Enter or something like that to connect these dots. We're going to use the Command or the Control key. So click on this dot, click on that dot while pressing Command or Control, and you will complete the pattern or the path. At this point, we go to Select from Path, Select from Path, or up here, Select from Path. And once we do that, we have these marching ants. Now, if I hit delete now, it deletes the woman, but I don't want to do that. I want to delete the background, so go up to select, invert, or I can press Control or Command I. As you can see, the marching ants are on the outside. So I'll go up to Edit, come down to Clear, and if you're on a PC, just press delete and the background will disappear. Now we go up to Select and None, or I can press Shift, Control, or Command plus A as an apple to unselect the woman. And then just go to the Move tool or press M as in Mary. And now I want to copy this, so I hit Control or Command C as in cat to copy this picture. I'll go back over to the brick wall and hit Command or Control V as in victory. Now hit Control and scroll down. And now we want to scale this, so go up to the Scale tool, or you can press Shift plus S as in Sam. Click inside the picture. Now go up to the little corner here, the box, and just bring it down. And to move it, go inside the middle here and just move it over. And press Scale or hit Enter. Now we can press Shift, Control, or Command plus J as in Jack to fit the picture to the screen. Let's hit the Move tool again and just line this up the way we want it. And now we have it in place. So I can merge this down. So click on the Merge tool. And now I have two separate layers, but I don't want to merge it yet. But here I can control opacity, and I can go into different modes. Now below I have Banksy, I have graffiti on the wall. There are different lessons below that they use, like screen and multiply and overlay, and it looks really cool. So I would try those lessons out. The neon car lesson is really cool as well. But what we want to do is integrate the brick wall into the woman's face. So that's different. So let's go back to normal. Let's go up here to Filters, come down to Map, and then go to Bump Map. Now we're going to use bump maps here because I want to get the texture of that brick into her face. So click on Bump Map. And then now we're going to click on this question mark because I want to pick what I want. So I want to pick her. I want her to go into this, the brick wall. As you can see, the brick is beginning to emerge. And we can play with these sliders. I suggest you do. And this is how we use a bump map and get that real texture feeling. So you can put a face into a rock or into a tree or anything you want. And there are lessons out there. And if I want to work with blend modes, I'm going to do it over here and not over in the layers menu. Check out overlay and screen and multiply and see what they look like. And just play around with this. But this is how you do it. And I can change opacity down here as well, or on the other side. Let's look at how we can work with different filters to make photographs look pretty cool. So we can take this picture and make her into a sketch. And what I did was created multiple copies of her so we can play with different filters, okay? So I'm going to show you what some of these filters look like. But let's go ahead and create that sketch. So go to Colors, go to Use Saturation. And what I want to do is turn her black and white. So take all these sliders here and turn them all the way left. That's a pretty cool picture. Now we have a black and white picture, but it's too dark. So let's go back up to Colors. And you can try levels too, but we're going to go to Curves. And down the Curves. And this would be my white areas or my highlights. And down here are my darks or my lows. So if I go all the way over, if I went all the way to the left, it will go white. These are my midtones. And down here are my darker tones. So if I go over, it goes to black, and the top one goes to white. I just want to add more light to this, so let's go ahead and bring it over to about right there. So I played with a few different filters, but one I found that worked right away was Filters, Artistic, Photocopy. And as you can see, it starts to look like a sketch or a light sketch. So play with the sliders here. So for someone like me who minored in art in college, this is how I would sketch some pictures, and I've done it like this. And what's great about this is now I can also use my blending options. So play around with the sketch. I just did it for a few minutes. Now let's go ahead and try some different filters and play around with these filters. I'm just going to go ahead and let these filters run and kind of do them a little bit quick, but just look at what I'm clicking on so you have an idea of the type of things you can do. And in Photoshop, they have specific filters like watercolor, sketch, cartoon, oil paintings, and here they have them under different names, but you can find a lot of them. Now here we're going to create a simple border, really simple to do. You can make a picture look like it's 50 years old. You can do like this. You can do a watercolor. I've done stuff using filters of people's dogs and cats and blew up the pictures, and now they have them in their living rooms, and I charge quite a bit of money for it. But you can do a lot of things. Here's your neon filter. You can make money doing this, but what you need to do is create samples, right? So get some pictures. Here's a vignette. You can make it softer. There's so many things you can do. Almost everything you can do in Photoshop, you can do in Gimp. So play with these filters, play with different pictures, photographs, create some samples, and start selling. Now, what we're going to do here is take that picture and put it inside a photograph of the Home Alone kit. And then we're going to put that inside some text. Bring in your photo assets. Let's bring in the colorful brick wall. I think it's a cat. We'll drop it right here. And this is really easy to do. So now we're going to bring in the picture of the Home Alone kit, and we're going to drop it over here right in our layers menu beneath the wall. Our next step is to scale the Home Alone kit. I can't think of his name right now. Should know that. I can press Shift plus S or go up to the scale tool and just scale this up. And click scale or hit enter. I want to go up to the wall. So go up to mode or blend mode and go down to overlay, and that's it. I can play with different filters on top of that, opacities. You can add things to this too, but I just want to show you how easy it is to put something inside something else. Now let's go over to the text tool or press T as in Tom. And we're going to create text. Let's just type in Home Alone. And let's make that text bigger by just clicking up here and typing in a number. We can change the font. And over here, we can change the color. We can change the justification, the spacing. First, we need to take the picture and bring it up, because in this one we want the picture on top of the text. Let's go up to our blend mode and go down to multiply, and that's it. So let's go back to our text tool. Just press T as in Tom. Let's change the font size. Grab this corner, drag it down. Now what's also cool is if I go back over to the move tool or press M as in Mary, I can move the background picture around to get it exactly where I want it positioned. So there's some quick tips for you. Let's create a basic logo and circular text. So we're going to create this. Is not perfect, but I just want to give you an idea of how this would work. So let's bring in our guy, our runner, and we can duplicate this if we want to, but my first step here would be to make the background bigger. So go to image and go to canvas size, and let's change our background size to 2000 by 2000. So I can tab twice here, tab 2000, come down and make sure that it is transparent, and click resize. Now click Shift, Control, or Command plus J to center the picture and make it full screen, and then go back to our move tool. Press M as in Mary. Let's move him into place. So now we're going to create a new layer. So press Shift plus Command or Control plus N as in new. We'll call it WV for a white background. I want to create a white background here. So this is my foreground color. That's my background color. I can choose from this menu where I want this to go. So I can have it transparent, have it just go white, or foreground. So we're going to make it our foreground color, because we're going to come back to that when we add text to our round text. So now we have a white background. Let's move the runner up or the background down. So now we have the runner and then we have the background. So now we need to create a circle around here for our logo. Let's go to our ellipse tool, or we can press E as in Edward. Click on this and left click here and just drag it down and create a circle. It does not have to be perfect right now because we can adjust it or move it with these squares. So let's go ahead and move this up to about right there. And let's move this up. And I want to have it high enough so that my text are going to be up here above his head to the right. Now I can make this circle perfect, but right now that's not my goal. So now we're going to right click and go to select again, but now we're going to path, not from path. Or go up here to select to path. So that's our circle, that's our path. And remember, I don't want to delete the inside, the outside. So now I have to go back and invert this. So go to select, come down to invert, or press Control or Command I. So now we're deleting the outside of the circle. So if I go to edit clear, or if I press delete on the PC, it's going to delete the circle of the runner, not the white background, because I have the runner selected, not the white background. But first I want to go ahead and delete the white background. Click on the white and go up to edit and clear, or click delete. So now we have the circle in the white background as well. Go to one of these pictures of this guy, and so now let's drop a shadow in this guy. So let's go over to filters, light and shadow, and go to drop shadow. And you can play around with these sliders. I'm just going to do a little bit of adjusting here. And my goal here is to make it look a little bit 3D. Now in Photoshop, there are 3D filters. Again, there are filters for a lot of this stuff already. Now let's try another one. I want to make this second one a cartoon. So let's go back up to filters, go to artistic, and go to cartoon. And let's play with this a little bit. I see it's a little bit dark. I'm going to have to lower the opacity. So let's click on this and lower the opacity just a little. But what I want to get are the dark and light colors. So that's what I want. Now we need to create text around the logo above the guy's head. So let's go back to the ellipse tool, or press E as in Edward on your keyboard. Left click and drag. And let's adjust that to your liking. And keep in mind the text is going to be in the middle of the circle, going along the circle, not beneath it or not above it. So let's go over to select, and let's go to path. Or we can go up here to select and down to path. Now we have our circle. So now we're going to go to select none. So we have our path. So let's go over to layers, channels, and paths. And that's the path we just created. I need to make that visible. Click on the eyeball there, and we see a circle, a red circle. So what we're going to do now is go over to the layers menu, go to our text tool, or type T as in Tom, left click and drag. And let's type in Mad Fitness, but you can type in whatever you want to type in. Let's make the fonts bigger and drag this out. This should be bigger than that, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. Now let's go ahead and right click and go down to text along path. As you can see, the text is right there, so we no longer need the text we just typed. We can delete that if we want to. I'm just going to make it not visible. Now I'm going to create a new layer, Shift plus Control or Command plus N. And I'm going to call this MF or Mad Fitness. Hit enter. Now I'll go back to paths, and I can actually click on path to selection. Because now I want to put color inside that text. I'm going to go up to edit and come down to fill with foreground color. Remember that? Foreground background. So here's my foreground color. My foreground color is blue. So there's my foreground color. Come over to the rotate tool. I can hit Shift plus R and I can rotate this text in the way I want to. And that's pretty much it. So that's how we create text around a circle.